I made a promise to myself not too long ago that I'm going to do everything in my power with the skills that I have to try and replace my income so that I can make training more of a bigger part of my life. And I'm like this close to being there. So in this video, I'm going to tell you all the progress that I've made so far so you can copy and paste it for yourself with what I've done up until this point. My name is Dan, I'm the BJJ business guy. I'm a blue belt hobbyist, but I like to think of myself as a black belt in online business, seeing as my last business that I had did very, very well. But I'm not a self-proclaimed millionaire or by any means wealthy. So I'm trying to not just be wealthy in the sense of having a lot of money, but being wealthy in the sense of I get to pick and choose when and where I train and how I incorporate it in my life without regular life getting in the way. So if that's something that you want to do and you want to learn from the things that I've done already, then just watch this video, like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. Let's get into it. The first thing, and probably the most important thing that I've learned on how I can make money in the jiu-jitsu industry is by creating some type of personal brand. So if you're watching this and you have some sort of an idea, or you don't have an idea, you just want to train more and not have regular life get in the way, the big problem always comes down to money. Whether it's joining multiple gyms that have different time frames on when you can train, whether it's just joining a gym because the gym is expensive, or whether it's you want to quit your job to be able to train full time. Whatever your goal is, the biggest thing that I had to realize that I had to do was create some sort of a personal brand. And with the personal brand, what I learned early on is not follow all the things that I've been seeing online with people say, you have to post 12, 13, 14, 15 times a day. You got to focus on followers and retention and hooks. And yes, that stuff is important, especially in what I learned in my last online business. It is important. But what's more important is that you stay disciplined and consistent. So if you take on too much, like I did in the beginning, you're not going to see the results that you want to see in the beginning because it takes a long fucking time to create some sort of a personal brand, to create a following, to create an audience. So I had to realize early on that I had to pick one platform that I was going to focus on. Now, I know this goes against a lot of the advice, but once I picked one platform and just focused on that and stayed consistent with it, that's when I started seeing results, and I started getting like a little bit of this snowball effect. The platform that I picked was YouTube. You could pick whatever you'd like. You could pick Instagram, you could pick TikTok, you could pick LinkedIn, X, you could pick just email, whatever you want to do. Just pick the platform that you're confident you're going to stay focused on and disciplined with and not fall off the rails. Because when I created my first personal brand in the jiu-jitsu space, I quit like 3 times before I got to 100 videos. And I quit like 3 times before I ever stayed disciplined and consistent with making videos, especially making videos that like actually had value, not was just like me bullshitting in front of a camera. Now, I needed to go through that initial period to get over the fear of just posting stuff online. And I feel like everybody kind of needs to go through that. You really need to create like your first 100 videos, your first 100 posts, or send your first 100 emails, whatever platform you're going to pick. But that was the first thing that I learned was, yes, I need to create a personal brand, but I need to pick one platform that I could stay consistent. The second thing that I learned, and this actually rolled into me getting my first commentating gig for a jiu-jitsu event, was figuring out what my brand journey is going to be. So now that I have a personal brand set up, what is my personal brand? What do I relate to? What do people see when they see my profile? What do they see that they're going to get value out of when they read the name of my profile, when they watch my content? And when I figured out that I wanted to take my business background that I have had like a lot of success in the past with and mix it with jiu-jitsu, I started to make a couple of like networking connections for people that were doing things in the jiu-jitsu space. Most particularly, I ended up linking up with a guy who was starting a jiu-jitsu event for first responders only. My full-time gig is a first responder. That's like my full-time job. And what I did was I made a couple of videos for free because I have some editing and some speaking experience. And that landed me a commentating position where I was able to make my first $1 in the jiu-jitsu space. I've made plenty of money in an old business of mine in the online space before. I don't do that business anymore. So when I was going into the jiu-jitsu industry, making that first dollar on an online business to try and reach my goal to be able to train more with more freedom was like starting from scratch again. Yes, I had these skills to market myself online or to create some type of an operationally sound business and just to know like the bare minimum necessities to be able to, make money in an online business. But I was doing it in a completely different industry. So I had to start basically from scratch. And that first dollar that I made from the commentating position that I got was like groundbreaking to me. That's what really opened up the door for me to get some steam behind myself and some motivation to continue to keep pushing forward, because I was starting to see a little bit of success. And what I did with my brand was I just figured out what I was good at and what I liked to do, and started talking and speaking about that and mixing the two together. But more importantly, what I didn't do is affix myself to things that didn't go with my brand. So in my early time on social media, I was talking about too many things at once. I was talking about like 7 different things, and I wasn't sticking with like my core focus of business and jiu-jitsu. And what that did to me was it screwed up the algorithm, and people were watching and they were confused, and people didn't subscribe or people didn't follow, and my view counts went down. And that was like the first time that I quit. So if you're watching this and you want to copy a little bit of what I'm doing, figure out what your brand is going to be, what your brand journey is going to be, what do you relate to, what do you affix yourself to, and don't stray away from that. But more importantly, don't affix yourself to something that has nothing to do with that brand. Just stick with the core focus of what you're going to be building your brand about. And then the third thing that I did, and this is what got me like, and is getting me right now, like this close to be able to accomplishing my goal of being able to train more and make money in the jiu-jitsu industry so that I can have more freedom with training, was picking one type of business that I was going to do that relates to the personal brand that I'm building. I tried like 4 or 5 different things in the jiu-jitsu industry to make money, and all of them could have worked. All of them would have worked. All of them could still work. The problem is there's only 24 hours in a day. I have 3 kids, I have a full-time job, I have a bunch of shit that's going on. I can't do all of them at the same time, so I had to pick. And what I picked was marketing services for gyms. And while I'm not like making crazy money with marketing services for gyms, what I realized was once I picked and focused on that one thing, I had people start to reach out for me. I started telling people about the services that I was doing. I built a website called jujitsunetwork.com. And I'm still building it, and it's still growing, and it's nowhere near where I want it to be. But I started to see a little bit of success when I just picked that as my main focus. So you could see a little bit of a pattern here. I had to build some type of an online brand and pick one platform. I had to choose what my brand was going to be and not talk about anything else, and pick just what my brand guidelines were going to be. I had to figure out what type of business model was I going to choose and just pick one. So what I think this all relates back to is just focus. I think back to, I forgot who said it, but somebody said on an interview, they asked either it was Bill Gates or Charlie Munger or Warren Buffett or one of these guys, or it was, maybe they asked like all 3 of them. But they said the sole thing that they wished they had at the beginning when they were starting was laser focus. Because if you're doing too many things at once, or you get the shiny object syndrome, it's a pain in the ass to get anything going, because you don't have the discipline to be able to do all the things all the times with 24 hours in a day with regular life still going on. So just pick something. And to recap, what I did so far to get close to my goal was I picked one platform that I was going to build a personal brand with. I picked one type of brand that I was going to make with certain things that I talk about and certain things that I don't affix myself to. And then I picked one business model that I was going to do, and I just worked on those things specifically and did not work on anything else. And so far, so good. Now, I haven't accomplished my goal yet, but if you're watching this and all you want to do is train and you want to quit everything else, then copy those 3 things. Keep doing them, stay disciplined with them, and I promise you, you will see some success. So if you like content like this, you want to continue to follow my journey, just subscribe to me for the next few videos, and I'll see you there.